We can't win. Humans are the gods of war. An alien diplomat's terrified declaration. Through the oval viewport of her diplomatic vessel, Ambassador Vea watched the battlefield below with a mixture of horror and fascination. The once pristine capital city of New Meridian lay in ruins, its elegant spires reduced to smoldering wreckage. Her golden eyes, set against her yellow scara, reflected the flickering flames that devoured what remained of their most advanced military installation. Her slender fingers, tipped with iridescent nails, traced the cool surface of the viewport. The soft green hue of her skin seemed to pale as she observed a lone figure moving through the devastation. A human male. His battle-worn combat armor, scarred but unbroken, bore the marks of relentless warfare. He moved with the casual confidence of a predator stalking its domain, unfazed by the wreckage of their finest warships. "Impossible," whispered First Advisor Krell, his voice trembling. "Our defensive grid was impenetrable. Our ships were nothing to them." Vea cut him off, her silver hair catching the dim light as she turned to face her council. "Look at the evidence before you. 3 days. It took them 3 days to accomplish what the combined alien forces could not achieve in 2 decades. Silence fell upon the chamber. 12 of the most powerful Meridians sat around a crystalline table, their once proud shoulders now slumped in defeat. The elegant dark green gown Vea wore, embroidered with golden threads to signify her diplomatic status, felt like a cruel mockery now. "The humans," she continued, her voice steadying with grim determination, "do not fight like we do." They did not follow the established protocols of warfare. They adapt, improvise, and conquer with a savagery that borders on artistry. Second Advisor Prell hesitated. "Surely you're not suggesting—" "I am." Vea's golden eyes blazed. "We cannot win. The humans, they are gods of war. And if we do not act now, our civilization will be erased from the galaxy." The council erupted in protest, but Vea raised a hand, silencing them. Below, on the battlefield, the human warrior had stopped walking. He looked directly up at their vessel, as if he could sense their presence. A chill ran down her spine. "We have one option left," she declared. "We offer an alliance, not just a treaty." She took a deep breath, steeling herself. "I will marry one of them." The chamber exploded into chaos. Krell leapt to his feet, his ceremonial robe swirling around him. "Ambassador, you cannot be serious. To bind yourself to one of those warriors who just demolished our most advanced military installation like it was a training exercise." Vea's voice cut through the noise. "Those beings who turn our finest weapons against us. Those humans who fight with such terrifying efficiency that our best generals now call them demons." She stepped into the center of the chamber, her gown trailing behind her. "Our pride led us here. Our belief in our superiority blinded us to the truth. Humanity is not just another species to be conquered. They are something else entirely." Through the viewport, more human soldiers emerged from the smoke, their movements coordinated and precise. Their efficiency was mesmerizing in its own terrible way. "Send a message," Vea commanded. "Tell them I offer myself as a bride to one of their leaders. It is time we learn from those we once believed we could subjugate." Commander Tanner Drake stood in the pristine conference room of the human diplomatic vessel. His battle-worn armor remained unchanged from the field, dried mud and scorch marks a testament to New Meridian's fall. The contrast against the immaculate surroundings was stark. His dark eyes studied the Meridian delegation across the polished table, lingering particularly on Ambassador Vea. "Let me get this straight," he said, his deep voice laced with amusement. "You're proposing a marriage alliance, and your council expected one of our political leaders or fleet admirals to accept?" Vea met his gaze steadily, though her pulse quickened under his scrutiny. "We assumed." "That's your first mistake," Drake interrupted, a slight smirk tugging at his lips. "Humans don't follow assumptions. We break them. Your intelligence reports probably told you we'd send some decorated desk jockey, right?" The council members shifted uncomfortably. Vea found herself intrigued by the way Drake moved, efficient, predatory, yet carrying an underlying grace that spoke of absolute control. "Instead," he continued, "they sent me, the one who led the ground assault on your capital. The one you watched through your viewport yesterday. Vea's golden eyes widened. You knew I was watching? Drake's smirk deepened. I could feel it. He leaned in slightly, his voice dropping. Just like I can feel your fear and your fascination right now. Your kind may be telepathically null, but your body language is an open book. Heat crept up Vea's neck, tinting her green skin a darker shade. Commander Drake. Aye. Tanner, he corrected. If we're going to be married, formality seems redundant. First Advisor Krell sputtered, This is outrageous. Ambassador? Surely you can't. Silence. Vea's command was sharp. She stood, her silver hair catching the light. Commander Tanner, why did they choose you? Drake circled the table slowly, his movements deliberate. Because I understand war, Ambassador. Not just the strategy and tactics, but the heart of it, the primal dance of survival that forges civilizations. He stopped beside her chair. And because I saw something in you yesterday. Vea's breath hitched. What did you see? Drake's dark eyes held hers. A warrior spirit wrapped in a diplomat's robes. His gaze traced her features. Someone willing to sacrifice everything for her people, but who has never truly lived. The air between them crackled with unspoken tension. Vea found herself standing, drawn to his presence like a moth to flame. And what do you propose to do about that, Commander? First, he said, reaching out to brush a strand of silver hair from her face, I'm going to teach you why humans don't just win wars. We transcend them. The touch sent a jolt through her body. The council chamber faded away, leaving only the magnetic pull between them. This close, she could see the battle scars on his face, each one telling a story of survival. And then, she managed to ask. His voice dropped lower, meant only for her. Then, I'm going to show you why they call us the gods of war. But not through violence, through passion, through life, through everything your people have forgotten in their pursuit of perfect order. Vea's heart pounded. This wasn't the cold political arrangement she had expected. This was fire and steel and primal energy, wrapped in human form. When do we begin? She whispered. Drake's smile held promises that made her shiver. We already have. The training facility aboard the Titan's Fury buzzed with entirely new energy as 20 Meridian diplomats faced off against their human counterparts. Vina watched from the observation deck, her body pressed against Tanner's side as they evaluated the first day of a joint training program. They're terrified, she observed, noting how the Meridians maintained careful distances from the human warriors, just as I was at first. Tanner's hand slipped lower on her waist, drawing her closer. Before or after I showed you why humans are called gods of war? Both, she admitted, turning to face him, though your demonstration methods were quite convincing. Below, Lieutenant Robinson attempted to prepare the trainees for basic combat exercises. The Meridians' natural grace made them quick learners, but their ingrained formality created an invisible barrier. They need to understand, Tanner mused, his fingers tracing the unit insignia on Vina's shoulder, that human strength isn't just physical. Vina nodded, understanding his intent. They descended to the training floor together, their movements synchronized from countless hours of practice and other, more intimate activities. Honored delegates. Vina addressed her people in their native tongue, then switched to English. You see before you what many thought impossible, a perfect union of Meridian diplomacy and human warfare. One of the Meridian diplomats, Ven, stepped forward. We mean no disrespect, Ambassador, but how can we trust these gods of war? Tanner's voice carried a dangerous edge that still made Vina's pulse quicken. The same way your ambassador learned, through understanding. Without warning, he launched into an attack sequence. Vina met him move for move, their bodies flowing together in a deadly dance that was as much seduction as combat. Each block became a caress, each strike a testament to absolute trust. The Meridians watched transfixed as their refined ambassador matched the human warrior blow for blow. When Tanner finally pinned her, their faces inches apart, the tension in the room was palpable. That, Vina said, slightly breathless, is what true partnership looks like. Humans don't just fight, they protect. They trust. They love, Tanner finished, helping her up with a lingering touch. Everything we do completely. The demonstration shattered the final barriers. Soon, Meridians and humans were paired off, awkwardly at first, then with growing confidence. Robinson shot them an approving nod as he corrected a Meridian diplomat stance. Later, in their quarters, Vina watched Tanner remove his training gear. "You enjoyed showing off today," she accused playfully. "Showing off." He pulled her against his chest. "I was merely demonstrating proper human-Meridian relations. Is that what we're calling it now?" Her hand traced the muscles of his back. "And here I thought we were just fighting. With humans," he murmured against her neck. "Fighting and loving are two sides of the same coin. Both require trust, passion, and complete surrender to the moment." Their own demonstration of human-Meridian relations lasted well into the night's cycle, and afterward, as they lay tangled in sheets, Vina contemplated the changes in her people. "They're beginning to understand," she said, watching the stars through their viewport. "I saw it in their eyes today. The fear is turning to fascination." Tanner's smile was predatory. "Should I be jealous?" "Never." She straddled him, silver hair falling around them like a curtain. "I learned long ago that one god of war is more than enough for any woman." A communication alert interrupted their renewed passion. The message was from venerable the Meridian diplomats were requesting additional training sessions, specifically in close-quarters combat. Tanner laughed, pulling Vina back down to him. "Looks like your people are finally embracing the human way." She agreed, surrendering to his touch. "Though perhaps we should keep some aspects of human-Meridian relations private." The accident happened during a routine training session. A Meridian diplomat, executing a traditional defensive maneuver, collided with Robinson's standard human combat role. Instead of resulting in injury, their movements merged into something entirely new, a fluid combination of Meridian grace and human power that left both participants stunned. "Did you see that?" Tanner leaned forward in the observation booth, his tactical mind already analyzing the implications. Vina pressed against him, her diplomatic training recognizing the broader significance. "Computer, replay that sequence." The holographic display showed the moment in perfect detail. Two distinct combat styles becoming something greater than the sum of their parts. "It's beautiful," Robinson called up from the training floor. "Like water and fire combining, instead of extinguishing each other." The discovery sparked intense interest across both species. But they weren't the only ones watching. Within days, delegations from 3 other alien races requested permission to observe the training program. "I don't like it," Tanner muttered, watching the alien observers from their private quarters. His hands roamed possessively over Vina's body as she prepared for the diplomatic reception. The Cathani representatives, especially. Their body language screams predator. Vina agreed, arching into his touch but refusing to be distracted. But refusing them would create diplomatic incidents we can't afford. "Besides," she turned in his arms, pressing herself against him, "let them see what happens when species truly unite." The reception that evening was a study in tension. The Cathani delegation, reptilian and aggressive, barely concealed their interest in the combat demonstrations. The Meridian human pairs performed their new hybrid techniques with precision, each movement a testament to their growing unity. "Fascinating," the Cathani ambassador hissed, his forked tongue tasting the air. "Such intimate cooperation between species." Tanner's arm tightened around Vina's waist. "The key is trust," she explained smoothly. "Complete surrender to partnership." "Indeed." The ambassador's eyes lingered on them. "And how complete is the surrender?" Before Tanner could respond, diplomatically or otherwise, given the dangerous glint in his eye, alarms blared throughout the station. "The Cathani ship has launch fighters without authorization," Robinson reported, rushing to them. "They were never here to observe. They want to confirm our defenses, our level of integration." Tanner was already moving, his body shifting from diplomatic pose to battle-ready in an instant. Sound general quarters. "Vina, I'm coming with you," she stated, her diplomatic robes falling away to reveal combat gear underneath. "They wanted to see human Meridian cooperation? Let's show them." The next hours proved why humans were called gods of war and why their Meridian partners were equally formidable. Tanner commanded the defense with tactical brilliance, while Vina coordinated their mixed-species squadrons with diplomatic finesse. The new combat techniques proved devastatingly effective, Meridian grace allowing human fighters to execute maneuvers that should have been impossible, while human aggression gave Meridian tactics an edge that caught the Cathani completely off guard. In the command center, Tanner and Vina moved in perfect sync, their bodies brushing as they coordinated the defense. Each touch, each shared glance carried the heat of battle, and something more primal. "They're retreating," Robinson announced finally. "Looks like they got more of a demonstration than they bargained for." Later, as adrenaline gave way to other impulses, Tanner and Vina celebrated their victory in their own intimate way. Their passion matched the intensity of battle, each touch a confirmation of life and unity. "You were magnificent," Tanner murmured against her throat. "A perfect warrior diplomat." "We all were," Vina replied, her body responding to his touch. "Human and Meridian fighting as one. No wonder they feared us enough to attack." "They should fear us," he growled, pulling her closer. "Not just for our fighting prowess, but for what we become together." FISO teams deployed in specialized strike craft, demonstrating combat techniques that defy conventional military doctrine. Human aggression, amplified by Meridian precision and grace, was further enhanced by an untamed fury honed through war. From the command deck, Vina and Tanner coordinated the defense with an intimacy that transcended mere strategy. Every shared glance, every brush of hands across tactical displays carried the fire of their private passion into the realm of warfare. Cathani formation breaking, Robinson reported with satisfaction. "They've never seen anything like this," Vina replied, her body pressed against Tanner's as they studied the tactical display. "This is evolution in action." Superior enemy numbers meant nothing against FX's revolutionary tactics. Human Meridian pairs executed impossible maneuvers, their minds and bodies operating in perfect harmony. Traditional forces would have been overwhelmed, but these integrated teams thrived on chaos. In the heat of battle, Vina found herself recalling their first encounter, how her fear of human military prowess had transformed into understanding, then passion, then love. Now, as their combined forces demolished an enemy fleet 3 times their size, she understood something new about humanity's warrior nature. "You're not just gods of war," she whispered to